Hello and welcome to a victorious, undefeated even episode of the Silver and Black Coffee Hour, your awesome-based San Antonio Spurs podcast. My name is Tom Petrini. I'm here with my friends Aaron Blackerby. Aaron, how you doing?
Y'all, I'm doing great. I'm really excited about 2-0. And after you intro Zach, I want to tell y'all about the dream I had last night.
Ooh, dream teaser. Zach Montana. What did you dream about last night?
Actually had a weird dream. I dreamed that we were interviewing Michael Jordan for the podcast. So that's sorry to the
Dream
fans,
big.
that's not happening. But yeah,
If
that's
that ever does happen, I promise that at least 70% of it will focus on NASCAR. But AB, tell us about your dream, man.
So, I had this dream, and right before I woke up, so this is like right when I remembered it. Um, Somehow I was in like a media scrum, but it was like just me, Stefan Castle, like Julian Champagny and Greg Popovich, but like they were in like a tight hallway and I was just kind of there and they were talking about like the upcoming starting lineup. And I was like, well, Julian, like clearly you're going to the bench because De'Aaron Fox is coming back. And then Pop shot me a glare that could have killed me. And I like immediately looked at him and said, I am so sorry. And
then you woke up.
then I had this, well, almost. And then I had like this feeling of dread where I was like, I'm never going to get to ask another question ever again. And then I woke up.
I'm glad that you guys are having stress dreams about basketball stuff. I'm having stress dreams about forgetting to make people coffee. So that's and it happens because it happens in real life, you know. But you guys are, interviewing basketball players and important people in real life. So I'm glad that that's entering your subconscious. Uh, Something that I want to
Hey
enter
man,
the
look,
uh,
I'm locked in, Tom. And speaking of locked in, just before we get too further down the line, like and subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, rate and review us. That also helps. Spotify comments as well. And then further, for anyone that has questions that arise that you want to have answered on the next show, put them in the chat for any of those places. We're very easy to get in contact with. And further, just gotta say, like, we didn't get that many questions after the last episode, so I'm expecting more this week.
and gotta
Are you
say
mad at the
thank
people,
you.
AB? It sounds like you're like you want more questions.
I just like answering questions. I'm not mad at anybody. I just think, I know people out there got questions. I'm not saying we have the best answers, but we do have answers.
There you
You guys
go.
don't want to see AB angry. It takes a while to get him there, but when he's there, it's not a fun time for anybody. What is a fun time is we've got nearly 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is crazy. And in addition to being a nice big round number, that's also the number where we get to start monetizing our channel. Love that YouTube money. Woo! So if you guys are not yet subscribed, smash that subscribe button. And when we reach that 1,000 subscribers, we'll give a little giveaway to one of our 1,000. So join the team. You want to be here. We're super duper plugged in. For example, I had a little inside line on the FBI gambling thing. My friend, you guys know I'm a New York Italian. My friends in the Gambino crime family, uh, let me know that this was on its way. And I actually was pushing for it. I was like, guys, Chauncey Billups needs to go down, and they were like, no, like if he goes down, then Albanian Bruce will go down, and I was like, guys, obviously that'll be bad, but what if we take out a sizable wager on Tiago Splitter plus 750 to be taking over as head coach of the Portland Trailblazers this year? And it all worked out in the wash. So shout out to Tiago Splitter. Very, very happy for him. Got his first win as a head coach. So the Popovich coaching tree grows. and just had to dip into some mob ties for it. So shout out to the Gambino crime family. Uh, this podcast sponsored by
Well,
Draft Duel.
not quite yet, but guys, we're not here to talk about the gambling scandal because, as
We're
far
not.
as we know, no Spurs are involved in it, thankfully and appreciatively. We got to talk about something, though. And I'll just ask y'all this right off rip, okay? Did we enter officially on Wednesday night the Victor Wembanyama era of the NBA?
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind.
I think we reached the point where, uh, you know, everybody's seen the highlights. Everybody knows what he can do, but it was who he was doing it to and how he was doing it that made people from across the basketball watching universe say, "Oh shit, that's kind of nuts."
The I was at my parents' house watching the game, and my mom loves basketball, but she you never really hear like animated during the games when she's sitting down watching it, and her reactions on multiple times, like laughing out loud and being like, "What am I watching right now?" And it was, and my dad is the same way. And my dad, once again, I've mentioned before, has seen a lot of basketball players play basketball in his life, and he was at a loss for words. And I always use that as a good like barometer of like how good is this performance. And then I go online, and Ryan Russillo is saying that is the most dominant basketball game he's seen a player play in a long time. Kendrick Perkins is saying that that is the most dominant basketball performance he's seen in the last 10 to 15 years on a basketball court. So we're
Shaq
talking,
said dominant.
yeah, when
Shaq was
Shaq
asked
says
for one
dominant,
word and chose dominant. That's about as high praise as you're gonna get from the big man.
He said dominant. KG, there was that snippet that got dropped right before the game with him and Paul Pierce. Shout out to KG and Paul Pierce, our podcast and colleagues out there, where he said that he was going to be a mix between Shaq and KD. And with that being said, just if anybody doesn't know, we're going to just talk about first and foremost one of the games of the week, truly one of the bright spots of the NBA and what is making this game so awesome right now. Season opener against Dallas in Dallas, Cooper Flagg's debut. Much like Tom telling Albania Bruce to get his ass for Chauncey Billups, Mitch Johnson told Stephon Castle get his ass to Cooper Flagg and held him scoreless in the first half. And look, the real story of the game, though, was Wemby. Ended the game with 40 and 15, 0 turnovers. In only 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Crazy. This has only happened 6 other times in a season opener. And this breaks the Spurs record for points scored in a home opener, according to Spurs PR, Jordan Howenstein. One thing I want to bring up further about this game was the pace of play that they were at. When Stephon Castle, I watched this game twice, and when Stephon Castle was leading, it took us 3 seconds to get down the court. It was 21 seconds. We're into the offense. Sometimes we were scoring at 21 seconds. The pace of play was fantastic. And then bringing in the rookie Dylan Harper, who had he was a little yippy at the beginning, little bit, worked through it immediately, got his nice euro on Cooper Flagg in the second half, showing that, like, by the way, Mavs, you probably should have taken me because you know what the Mavs were really lacking? A ball handler, someone who could get them into the offense. They were lacking a Luka Doncic type guy. And instead, they decided that the youngest player in the league, though he's going to be great, Cooper Flagg is going to be great. You're going to bring up the ball. So shout out to you, Mavs. Y'all are doing essentially a Point Sohan experiment, but with a rookie, and it will make him a better player. But I was really excited to see him be unsuccessful against my favorite team.
Well,
Um,
the crazy stat I heard from that was he had 0 assists, yes, but he only had 1 potential assist all game. 1 potential assist. I mean, that for me, Mitch Johnson.
Scoreless in the first half, right?
I mean, you heard
I
Mitch
mean,
Johnson
Steph
talk.
had him in the device.
You heard Mitch Johnson talk on the mic'd up. Disrupt the half court. Like be like and the Spurs understood that, this is a guy's first game in the NBA. He's got jitters. Get into him. Make him feel you. And they did that. Steph Castle took it personal. There was multiple occasions you could tell the dog came out in him. And not to say it doesn't come out in every game, but there was an extra like, I want to show you something real quick.
There was, man. And then Wemby being essentially a 3-level scorer, though only 1 of 2 from 3. Still really playing in the paint. His mid-ranger was looking good. It looked like a combination of LaMarcus Aldridge, Tim Duncan. And guys, just because I got to keep the streak going, all right, that 40th point that he hit, baseline jumper.
Well,
Udonis
that was
Haslem
very
rain.
Udonis Haslem. Yeah.
He's all about the
Double chin, I was
Udonis Haslem.
I
All
I
about
loved
it.
that last one because you could tell. I mean, they're up $1 billion, and it's getting to 5 minutes left in the fourth. The hook's coming, right? And it's like that my player game where you're like, I really want that 40 burger, and he just went into the baseline and threw something up, and it went. Yeah, and that was the most normal looking basket in the game from him, I think. I don't know about you guys, but I'm having trouble watching human basketball, you know? Like people will do ridiculous things, incredible things on a basketball court. And I'll watch it and be like, a human basketball player could do that from time to time. Um, the there were so many plays in this game that like blew up the internet. I like watching people watch Wemby highlights almost as much as I like watching the Wemby highlights. Like the clips of people, watching him block Lively and then go down the court and dribble, 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 cross tween, step back 3, 4-point play in his face, and then mix him in a pot like gumbo. Come on, man. Entertainment value is off the charts. It's breaking containment from not just Spurs world, but from basketball world. I saw like that guy that just tweets news stuff all the time in a very like journalistically neutral tone is just like, damn, this Wemby guy. Saw Hassan Piker talking about it. It's like, this is no longer just a Spurs or even sports story. He's here, man.
Yeah.
The
Wednesday was a cultural event, and we also though got to talk about the unsung heroes from this game. I think Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson really bringing that dog into the game. And yeah, sorry, Zach, you had something there?
No, we're just talking about Wemby, and we've seen plays that he makes that change games. It was 47 for Spurs are down 1. And he does the up fake to PJ Washington, up and under dunk. Spurs go up 1. Don't lose the lead the rest of the game. Wemby goes and comes back down again, takes 80, 1v1 and 1. Spurs close out the half on a little run. Start the second half on a little run. Blow the game completely wide open. It was almost like a big hit in football from middle linebacker that just like, okay, we're never coming across the middle again. We're not doing that again. And it just completely changed the way the game was looked at. He completely took the soul out of the Dallas Mavericks after that dunk. I love watching. You love watching the internet reaction. I love watching the crowd reaction and looking at what the people in the bleachers are doing when he does things like that. And there were Dallas Mavericks fans with the look of they saw a ghost. They saw
No, bro, they saw the face of God and they didn't know what to do.
They
That's speaking of real quick. Honey here, this is my little dog who I love dearly. She's been rocking her Spurs bandana since Wednesday. She's very excited to have it. So I just want to shout out Honey,
There you
the
go.
cutest little dog in the world. My
Honey-
little
Honey
dachshund.
Bunny said,
She's
"Go
ready for
Spurs,
game day.
go." And Zach, you brought up football, what Wemby did to AD in this game. What Wemby did to AD in this game is like it's like if a running back, you know, shot the A gap and just like lowered the boom on Ray Lewis in like sort of the end of his prime, right? And just leveled him, you know? And it's the kind of thing where you see it happen and you're like, "Oh man, that's not normal." Like he's one of the best in the world right now at this, and he looks like just a guy. So I think that's sort of one of the big takeaways on this game for me.
Well, Tom, tell us about last night's game. It was much different, but maybe even more of a growing up moment for this team.
I mean, classic come back down to earth moment for Wemby. Come back down to earth game. Only 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 blocks.
could have been 12 blocks.
And 0 turnover. Yeah. I saw some videos. These stat keepers like robbing Spurs big men. Never forget that Tim Duncan got a quad double to close out a finals one time. First play of the game, Wemby got dunked on by Zion. Wemby then made the paint kind of no-fly zone-y, or at least it felt like that. And then you look and you know, the Pelicans scored. They kept this game close. They sent it to overtime. They kept it close, I think, by packing the paint on defense and moving the ball pretty well. Really, really good balanced Devin Vassell game. Sort of helped keep the Spurs in this one. They've needed his shooting really badly. Castle, some big plays, way too many turnovers, including late. It was like, oh, he had a rough stretch late in the fourth quarter as the Spurs were sort of watching their lead evaporate and turn into a deficit. And then the defense sagged off him and he hit a big three. And I saw that and I was like, that's the guy, you know, like he is not afraid of the moment. He is not perturbed by his own shooting struggles so far. He's just going to see that that's the right basketball play to make and drill the shot. And then Wemby fouled out in overtime, you know, not ideal, right? But that's what we have a Luke Cornett for. Yeah, he was perfect in this game. 14, 13, offensive rebounding, screen connoisseur. He's so good for these young guards that are figuring out their way in the ways that he sets screens, rolls to the hoop, cleans things up, protects the paint. And the
Has
Spurs,
perfect misses at the free throw line.
exactly.
Just the perfect miss.
Yes, the
you know?
pass to yourself.
like he gets it. He gets it. And I think he was a big part of why the Spurs were able to sort of walk away from New Orleans in overtime without Wembanyama, without Fox. So
He was
yeah,
guarding
and, you know,
Zion down in overtime. He was the matchup. That was his matchup. Held him to 0 rebounds, 2 for 5 shooting in overtime. Look, I mean, say what you want about Luke Cornett. I love watching him run down the court after like a rebound or something. It's actually like once you watch it one time, you'll never not watch it. But man, he brings a lot of energy, and I love what he brought last night, especially.
Zach, who's talking shit about Luke Cornett already?
I'm not talking
I don't
shit.
know
I
what
love it. It's like
No, you were saying say what you want about Luke Cornett, and I'm like, who's saying bad stuff?
People were
nobody's
questioning the
talking
contract.
about. From what I've
Contract's
experienced,
good.
nobody is talking shit about Luke Cornett until I start talking shit in favor of Luke Cornett, right?
And
Like
they
I had
misread
this
what they
thing.
said.
I had something yesterday where I was talking to a Mavs fan about the game and about our respective teams, right? I was like, man, I'm really excited about Luke Cornett. And he was like, you might be the only one, man. I was like, you have no idea how deep Cornett Hive is. He was like, that's some real sicko shit. I was like, yeah, dude. Like, like Luke Cornett fans are sickos, just like a self-selecting bias thing. Like you can be a casual fan and love Wemby or Fox or some of these other guys. If you love Luke Cornett, you're a sicko and you're one of our sickos. Um, and yeah, he'll just come down the court in a full lather with zero accessories equipped and just like grab a offensive board and tip it in.
Yeah.
So the Spurs lost the Wemby minutes in this game by 12, actually. And he lost his record streak of 43 games with at least a block and a three. Next closest all time is Porzingis with 21. So, like, it sounds crazy to say that 29, 11, and 9 was like kind of a sloppy Wemby game, but it kind of was, he could have definitely been better. But one thing that we got to talk about is uh, the zero turnovers, right? Over the first two games. Pretty incredible. Only four other
Well, Tom, let me
players,
use that as a segue.
please.
Let me just use that as a segue because you already said the magic word that you love this. So instead of doing high praise this week, we're going to do a little segment called "It's Only Two Games, But," and we're going to talk about what we're loving, what we want to see more of, and then what we're concerned about. So, it's only two games, but Tom, what are you loving?
Well, I'm loving that Victor Wembanyama hasn't turned the ball over and has done all of these other things. Uh, Only four other players ever have done a two-game stretch with 69 points, 26 rebounds, and 12 blocks. Those players are Ewing, Shaq, Hakeem, and Big Dave. None of them ever did it with zero turnovers. Um, right now, the Spurs as a team are at or near the top of the league for points in the paint, fast break points, rebounding percentage, and they lead the league in defensive rating and net rating. We knew what this team was going to hang its hat on, and they are absolutely doing that to start the season, which is very, very exciting. Zach, what do you got?
And the points in the paint has been fantastic this year. You mentioned it earlier that the shooting last night wasn't that great. First half, it was horrible. They had 4 threes. They were 4 for 19 in the first half. I was sitting with the boys and we're like, had they made more than 2 threes? And we're sitting there thinking, like, I think they only made one, but it was four. Jordan McLaughlin had a three. Steph had a three. Devin had a three. But the shooting wasn't great, but they're getting downhill. When these downhill players, Dylan Harper, Steph Castle, Wemby, you can't keep him out of the paint. His shot diet is ridiculous to start the season. So just getting to the lane, being aggressive, making teams slide. I love it. That's what I want to see.
Nice. Well, to I guess further elaborate on this, the guy I'm loving right now, outside of Wemby, look, we can talk about how amazing he is, and I think we've already done that quite a bit. But Dylan Harper in 2 games already averaging 14.5 points, 2.5 assists, and 4.5 rebounds. Just for some comparison, real quick, Stephon Castle last season averaged 14.7 points, 4.1 assists, and 3.7 rebounds. So he's like right in line with that Stephon Castle Rookie of the Year stat line for anyone that's been a little like, why isn't he making every shot at the rim or anything like that? He's still a rookie, and this is just in 2 games, but I'm loving what he's seeing. And like last night, when he needed someone to get going, the team ended up finding that spark in Dylan Harper attacking the rim. I think he scored about 7 points in a row for the team right when Wemby went out. The other thing about the thing that I'm loving, and I'm kind of further project my love, pause, is the Luke Cornett, Dylan Harper pairing down the line. I think having a vet like Luke Cornett come off the bench and be able to set screens and have Dylan Harper understand here are NBA angles. that you need to take is going to be such an amazing part of his development. 'Cause down the line, Luke Cornett is not going to be on this team, and once again, years from now, and Dylan Harper still will be, and he's going to be the one probably bringing in like a younger big and being like, "This is where you need to set your pick." So I think there's a good transition of knowledge that goes on with that. All right, let's start talking about some things that we'd like to see more of. So it's only 2 games. But Zach, what do you want to see more of?
It's got to be 3-point shooting. They picked it up in the second half. Devin Vassell hit some great shots. Really got himself in some rhythm. Same spot on the floor, 2 shots in a row. Hit a big 3 in overtime. Steph Castle hit a big 3 in overtime. To get into overtime, Julian Champagnie finally got going. You could tell he just, when he hit that 3 in overtime, he was like, you could read his lips. Said, "Thank God, I finally made one." They like the broadcast showed him. He's like laughing about it. They just, once again, if they're scoring in the paint, teams are gonna know to scout that. So here in the near future, they're gonna be getting a lot of open looks to prevent the Spurs from getting in the paint, from getting easy looks in the paint. So these shooters need to be ready to go and be ready to let it loose. So that needs to, I wouldn't say it's a concern, but I just need to see a little bit of an improvement because that's going to make the offense be that much more efficient, that much more better.
Yeah. One of the things that I have been wanting to see is just a more distributive offense. I think I both talked to you guys individually, even after the first game. And while the Wemby masterclass was amazing to see, I was a little concerned after it of just the amount of the offense that ran through him. And being able to see, dudes like Julian Champagnie get a few more looks like he did in the preseason. Same with Harrison Barnes, because I do think there is something to just having a rhythm to your shooting that they haven't quite gotten to do. And specifically with guys like that, they are, camping out in the corners, and the offense, um, whether it's just not been set up like that yet, or it's the defense that they're playing, they're just not getting as many looks at the moment from there, even though everybody's playing more minutes than they did in the preseason. So I want to see a little more of that type of distributive playmaking, across the offense. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, I think kind of going off that control in the half court is sort of something that uh when you're relying on young guys like Steph Castle and Dylan Harper, who have been really good, um, there have also been some moments where they show their youth, right? And I think that De'Aaron Fox coming back is going to really change the complexion of what we're seeing out there in terms of that distributive offense that you're talking about. Um, I am hoping that it leads to results that um, will address Zach's point here, and something that if we're getting into concerns next. Zach said he wasn't concerned, just wanted to see some improvement. I think I'm at the point where I'm a little concerned about the shooting, because it's like, where is it going to come from consistently on this roster? I think Devin Vassell has been doing a very good job, but with Wemby shooting the 3-ball less, right? You have less of that. You have Champagnie has been a little bit off, right, in the 2 games to start the season after a very hot preseason. Harrison Barnes had an off-looking preseason and hasn't really made a huge impact so far this season.
We did go
And
full unk mode last night, though, thankfully, with some drives to the basket and sealing it with the free throws.
he, listen, I trust Harrison Barnes, right? But at the same time, it's it is concerning to me that after Vassell, the leaders for 3-point attempts on this team are Castle and Harper, right? Um, Castle's been good. He's shooting around 37%. Harper's been decent too. But it's a question of where is that shooting going to come from, and is the lack of it going to cause spacing problems that limit Victor Wembanyama's ability to live in the paint as he's been trying to do to start this season. Yeah. So what about you?
I
What are
am
you concerned about?
concerned. I am concerned on the free throws. I thought about also being concerned on 3-point shooting. I just feel like that's going to come around. You know, this is the segment called "It's Only 2 games," but so I'm not going to try to get too down. But one thing that I do think is truly glaring right now is we're middle in of the pack in free throw attempts and drawing free throws at 16th in the league, and we are the bottom 2 in making right now. The league average is 76%, and we are shooting, I believe, at 63% from the free throw line. With the amount this team is attacking the basket, and just to let you know, half of our points right now come from the paint. We had 68 in the paint against the Mavs. We had 64 against the Pelicans last night. There is so much paint touches. Keldon Johnson has decided I'm going to be a bulldog and play in the paint and big body his way up. And so we're going to get these attempts. We're going to get these free throws attempts. These are free points. These should be easy to make. These are going to make everybody's lives easier, even if we were just shooting at the league average right now. So I want to see that free throw percentage go up, because clearly the offense is all about attacking the paint and putting pressure on the rim. Zach, what are you concerned about after 2 games?
As I said, it's hard for me to be like, I'm concerned about something, knowing that there's a few things that will be fixed with this offense when a few players come back. When De'Aaron Fox is back, when Sochan's back, I think we just see like completely different lineups that allow different type of spacing for Wemby. I think when you bring Olynyk, Sochan back, now you don't have to stagger Wemby and Cornette. You can play them more together because you know you have 2 backups or 2 guys that can play next to them or whatnot. Don't have to worry about fouls. And so concern is a weird word right now. 2 games into the season when the Spurs are 2-0. Once again, I do think we need to clarify that this is as a podcast, fellas, this is the first time we've been able to talk about the Spurs being undefeated. Like we get to sit here and relax and be like, there's 0 losses. We have yet, over the span of preseason and regular season, knock on wood, talk about a loss. That's a pretty dope thing. So it's hard for me to sit here and be like, oh, I'm concerned about something. I just, there's
Zach, I got to interrupt, and I gotta give you 2 quotes here. One I'm going to loop back around, but the first one I'm going to quote our very own Mitch Johnson from Wednesday night. Be disciplined to be disciplined.
Embrace the mundane.
Embrace the mundane and boring. By the way, my wife said that to me last night before the game, and I was just like, I was just so turned on. So, with that, but
You're
so,
like, baby, I don't
so,
find you mundane or boring.
Yeah,
Gave her
exactly.
a big hug.
But with that being said, I mean, that's why we're concerned. We want to be disciplined here.
No, you're right.
But
Can I
his
say
mind was a
one
free
thing?
throw
to loop back though onto your point though about, yes, this team is not fully complete. I thought about this quote from the movie Coach Carter, which, funny enough, the person who actually wrote this quote is none other than former presidential candidate Marianne Williamson. It's called Our Deepest Fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And you know what? The light's coming soon. I believe in De'Aaron Fox and Jeremy Sochan and Kelly Olynyk into this lineup. So I'm concerned we don't even know how good we are truly
there
at
you
this
go.
point.
Well, maybe that's what I was trying to get to. Maybe that's what I was trying to loop around.
I'll loop it back around for
Well,
you.
Well,
yeah.
let's stay on that for a second, because we gave our predictions and stuff, and I tweeted after the first game, obviously overreaction. It's only 1 game, but I was like, I think that Wemby MVP and a 55 win season is like on the table. Like that could happen. That wouldn't shock me.
Well, he's the best defender in the league by none, easily. If he's a top five offensive player in the league, and the Spurs are top five in the league when the season's over, he's the MVP. And I think that's a very simple way to put it for me.
See, so last night, I guarantee you that Commissioner Silver called the refs union and said, "No one is here to see you. Victor Wembanyama is who sells seats in the league." And we're not even going to get into the reffing between both games because it has been absolutely atrocious. I cannot, for the life of me, understand what is and isn't a foul with the way that they're calling things. But hey, refs, like you're starting out early too. Um, Victor Wembanyama is probably not going to foul out another game this season. All right, like he's going to get superstar calls, and like last night, I mean, Luke Cornett did his best to like put his hand up to get it. He obviously was swiping down. Like I'm not denying that wasn't a foul call, but there were a couple of Zion Williamson launching his body into him, and it's like, oh, Wemby, that's a foul on you. It's like he's literally just standing there.
There was
So,
three of them, three occasions.
yeah. Yeah. I have a feeling Commissioner Silver called down and said, this is an entertainment product and that's a big ticket item. Do not take him out of the game ever again like that.
Although
Yeah,
I
'cause
have seen it, it looks like he's gotten away with a travel or two. And I genuinely can't tell if it's just because his legs are so long. Like, but he
Like
definitely
long
can't
legs.
be traveling, you know, because they'll see that shit.
Last night, that drive that he had, it looked like a travel. And I was watching the replay and I was like, oh, there's the dribble before the gather step. And those gather steps are so long. Now, the one in Dallas, that was a travel. So, yeah, I can't, I don't have a defense on that one.
Hey, we don't have to
What do
have
you
to
got,
make
Zach?
excuses for it. It's still point still counted.
Can
Hey,
I
man,
say
look,
one
40 and
thing?
29 in 2 games. Like,
One thing that I'm
whatever.
actually like I think my biggest concern, right? The biggest concern for the Spurs is always going to be Victor Wembanyama's health. And somebody put like an overhead angle of him dribbling and crossing over, and they said, "Why does it look like Wemby is rolling his ankle on every one of these crossover dribbles?" And I looked at his ankles and I was like, "Don't like that." You know,
You got to look at the other angle, Tom, because I
obviously,
did the same thing. It doesn't the looks can be like deceiving because I saw that with the lively crossover, but then I looked at the other angle, and his foot is like not rolling. It's just like the way he puts pressure on his feet. It just looks that way. Like the way his soles are probably like he's balanced on his feet. He's not rolling over, but like it just I want to ask him a question in a press conference surrounded. Does he wear new shoes every game? Because I feel like the force he puts on his feet to like, and he's just like bending the shoe. Like it almost looks like the shoe is loose in a way where he's just like ripping the seams out of it. And so it just comes off like I know exactly what play you're talking about. And so I did my research. I think we're gonna be all right. Knock on wood.
Don't be
thank
like
you.
me, kids. Tie your shoes. But we would also be remiss if we didn't talk about some really interesting news that happened before the season even kicked off. Jeremy Sohan did not sign a rookie extension, so he will go into the off season as a restricted free agent. He cannot be signed during the season, so contract talks are done. Look, I just wanted to spend a real quick minute on this because this is important to the team overall. One of the things, though, that I am thinking about with this Jeremy Sohan thing is one, stand up. We are such a fan of the work you do, Jeremy Sohan. I do like the idea of betting on yourself, showing off. I don't really know how those negotiations went between his camp and the team. But the other thing this does right now is it keeps the team flexible. if anything happens this season, and we've heard now from Vic that, 6th seed is at least the goal. So they're going outright playoffs. This is leaving a little more flexibility under their current cap situation to not jump up into any aprons. And then they still have contracts like Olynyk, Barnes, even Keldon, even Vassell, which, like, by the way, fellas, that Vassell contract in this day and age looks pretty good for what these other rookie extensions were being assigned for. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on that quick, Jeremy Sohan take. What do you guys got?
Like I think it's a prove yourself type of year for a few players on this team. Keldon, Jeremy, Harrison, they're all kind of Kelly. They all are on the final end of the back end of their contracts. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine last night saying that, like, for a veteran, that's an ideal spot to be in, like a Kelly Olynyk role where it's like just prove yourself and you can take a team friendly deal. With Jeremy, it's way different, and it's a very prove yourself year for him and for Keldon. They're both young. They both still have a long career in the NBA. They need to come out and show that they belong, and not to say that they don't look like they belong. It's just there might be a health concern, or the Spurs they both want to prove it. Jeremy thinks he can make more money, and the Spurs like, okay, we'll prove it to us, and we have no issue in paying it. So it's a worry about it later, but prove yourself now type moment for Jeremy, and I'm excited to see him flourish in that.
Dude, I think Keldon's already proved it a little bit. Even though he fouled out last night, he had 10 rebounds in 19 minutes.
Well, Mitch Johnson said
the
that,
dude is just being a dog.
Yeah, well, Mitch Johnson made a quote after the game. He was like, they asked him about Keldon and Wemby fouling out, and he's like, I'm not mad. I love the aggression, even with 5 fouls. So you can tell Mitch just loves dogs out there.
Get after it. Tom, what do you got on this?
We probably won't see Wemby foul out much more this season, but it wouldn't surprise me if Keldon got another couple just from getting after it. Jeremy, I think, maybe this doesn't happen if he has a healthy off season and camp with the team and everything looks great. And, that coupled with Harrison Barnes's, step back that he seems to have taken, there's a not so alternate universe where Sochan is, one of the stars of these first 2 games, right? And I think that in this universe, he's still a very crucial part of this Spurs team. A team that's going to hang its hat on defense, right? But also a team that struggles to shoot 3-point shots. I think that shooting question is going to be answered most importantly by him this season, and that's going to be sort of where the Spurs wind up in terms of, I think the plan is to bring him back. But also in terms of, like you said, the flexibility, could he be, that's an expiring contract, right? And so he could be used in a trade. I wouldn't want that. But it's like another tool for Brian Wright.
I would find it to be a pretty desperation move of him being moved. And I can't imagine, because the amount that they have spent work on him and the ways that he's been a jackknife for the team, that there's any other team in the league that's going to value him more. But this does keep their cap flexible right now for other things. So, and I'm excited to see him come back. But speaking of, I'm going to use this as a transition into our upcoming games. We're not knee deep in it, fellas, but we are wading into the waters of the NBA regular season, and we have 3 games coming up in the next week that are going to be really interesting. So one thing I want y'all to know, these next 3 games, we're playing teams that are in the top 10 in pace in the league. So Coach Corliss Williamson, Big Nasty, we're ready, man. You are the coach of rebounding and defensive transition. And so I think the pressure is going to be put on him. And the first game starts Sunday afternoon. The boys will be in the house. Home opener against the Brooklyn Nets. Zach, what do you got to say? Specifically, what do you got to say to the Jackals? I'm really excited about seeing them
No,
tomorrow.
I will say I love making game predictions. I will say at New Orleans, go back and watch the tape. I called that shit was gonna happen. This Nets game, it's an early start. It's a home opener. They're gonna have to bring the Spurs are gonna have to bring the energy to start the game. This is not a walk in the park. I understand the Nets are the best team in the East, but it's just a create your own energy type game. The Jackals will be there to create some energy as well. Thank God we had them now. But people are just getting back from church, going straight to the game. They'd be in their church clothes, so they need to bring some energy. I need to see a few Wemby dunks in the first quarter to get the crowd up and moving. Should be an easy dub though.
The first Wemby dunk, everybody goes hallelujah. Yeah, it's a TCOB game, baby. Take care of business. I'm hoping and expecting that the Spurs will do that. I think both of you kind of nailed the New Orleans game a little bit where, I remember Aaron talking about, we know that Wemby gets up to play AB and everybody, AD rather, and those games where it's a marquee thing, everybody, Castle a little extra, everybody a little extra. Can you get up to play the New Orleans Pelicans on a cold night in New Orleans? Can you get up to play the Brooklyn Nets on a Sunday afternoon? I will be there. I will be seated. I think that the Spurs understand the assignment here and got a bit of a wake up call with New Orleans. And also, I don't think that the Nets have the personnel to trouble the Spurs anywhere near what the Pelicans have, even with the Pelicans as injured as they are. So I'm so excited to see everybody at the Frost Bank Center. I'm so excited to see some Spurs basketball and talk to these fellas. AB, what about you?
Well, I'm excited, Tom, to see another one of our podcasting colleagues and Michael Porter Jr., an elite shot chucker in the NBA, as well as Cam Thomas. Both of them last night had 30 plus points, but everyone in their starting lineup was a minus. I believe they only had 2 people on their entire team that were in the plus after last night in their loss against the Cavs. A couple other things to know about this. One, their owner is already talking about the 26 draft. If you didn't know by the way that they drafted, when they basically took 5 guys that all play the same position, it's kind of a mess on that. But I do think Jordi Fernandez is a good coach and will be able to show that off when he gets fired inevitably from the Nets and goes somewhere else. Yeah, so I expect and hope, to y'all's point, Wemby, it doesn't matter who's in front of you. The competition and the bar and the standard is yourself. Keep going out there and surpassing that bar. Give everybody something fun to go home for that afternoon with a nice win against the Nets. Then, Monday night, we're running it back against the Raptors. A Sandro Mamukelashvili reunion, as well as the Block Lobster, Jakob Pertl, coming back through San Antonio. They will play the Rockets the night before, so both teams will be on a back-to-back. But fellas, so I brought up pace because I'm just telling y'all, things are going to be fast this week. The Nets are 10th, okay? They're undisciplined team. They're just going to run up and down the court. The Raptors currently are sitting at 3rd in pace, according to StatMuse. They scored... Okay, I brought this up earlier. We had 68 points in the paint. They had 86 against the Hawks in their first game. They are going to run. So I would be really I am going to be very interested to see one, are Jeremy and De'Aaron Fox back? Because those two will definitely help with stopping that transition um, offense on their end. And two, I just feel like Wemby's going to have something special for Sandro with this one. What do you guys have on the
Well,
Raptors?
I'll be there. I think I'll be solo dolo that night reporting the game for the fellas, so that'll be fun. It's once again gotta create your own energy. Monday night, back to back. I think that's what I'm excited for, just to see how this team responds on a back to back, first back to back of the season. Not necessarily a real back to back because they're at home and it's a midday game the day before. You know, the Raptors are the team traveling, so that's the Spurs have the advantage. So make it make it useful. You know, if they're gonna score 86 points in the paint against the Hawks, well, the Hawks don't have Wemby, so you can come in the paint all you want, and we'll wait for you.
I
Tom, what do you got on this one?
I think, I mean, the first back-to-back of the season makes it important to take care of business early against the Nets. And with the Raptors, they do have a decent mix of bigger wings who can switch and get in passing lanes and muck things up and make things a little bit tougher inside for Wemby. Um, I think this is a game that the Spurs should win. I think it's a game that they can lose. And yeah, the Mamu and Pirtle reunions. Somebody said last night in the comments on one of my tweets that Cornette really reminds him of Pirtle, and that feels a pretty I feel it. I see it. They do the same job. They're kindred, you know. They're dirty work guys, and so I'm excited to see those guys go head to head. But yeah, I'm thinking that this is going to be a game for the Spurs to, they'll need some of the shooting in this one to counter the length of Toronto.
Absolutely. And then we're going to wrap it up on Thursday nights. We're going to have 2 nights off after back-to-backs. Thursday night, the Heat are coming to town. This is right now the team leading the league in pace, led by Jaime Jaquez at the point. Man, okay. He had some very interesting rumors about him and Coach Spo's wife last year, but he's still on the team. And last night against the Memphis Grizzlies, they put up 146 points. These dudes are ready to run, and they've got double bigs like with Kello Ware and Bam Adebayo. Um, I think, I'm kind of jumping ahead to like my predictions. I think if we're losing a game this week, I feel like it's this one. Nikola Jovic, he is finally coming on after being within whatever you want to call Heat culture for 3 years. He just signed an extension with them. So this is also kind of a lengthy team with a smart coach in Eric Spoelstra. Mm, I imagine that we're going to see again this type of zone that was giving Wemby problems on defense. A couple ways I think we should be breaking that zone. Shoot some threes more efficiently. Be able to stretch that zone out a little bit more. Hopefully by this point, De'Aaron Fox is looking to. I'm not reporting anything, but it just sounds like he's seen it. De'Aaron Fox being his elite, fast man self is another way to get that type of penetration in on this. So this game especially, I feel like, hey, Mitch Johnson, like you're going to be coaching through this one. But all of these games are going to be at home. So they are winnable. There will be energy in the building. There's going to be that home support. But man, look for them to just try to run us out of the gym. Tom, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, Spo coach teams always scare me. He's just very good, very smart. Um, and again, they have some long boys. Khalil Ware has had some success against Victor Wembanyama as far as success against Victor Wembanyama goes, right? Uh, So I'm hoping Vic takes that a little personal, and shoves him in a locker a little bit this game. I saw a quote this week. I think it was Windhorst said it, that Wemby is apparently relishing being the bully, right? Uh, so bully that guy, Vic. They're talking shit. They're saying he's got your number. Uh, you put him in a locker, and yeah, I think that Bam obviously up there. He's like a all defense kind of guy. Um, so kind of similar recipe for the Raptors game, but I think the Heat have a little bit of an advantage in terms of just their players and their coaching. So this is going to be, I think the toughest game of the three. But yeah, what about you, Zach?
For me, this is a big game for the Spurs. Once again, it's a good matchup. I think this would be a great opportunity for the Spurs to bring back not just De'Aaron, not just Jeremy, but Kelly as well. They're gonna need to be it's a big on big type game. We're gonna need all the backup we can get. So let's just come out and play basketball. I think from here on out, you start off 2-0, you go 3-0 against the Nets. You really can get yourself on a good trajectory with the season mentally, a good psyche for the team. I think they can go into that game personally 4-0, have a great opportunity to start the season off 5-0. That's fantastic. That's a way, I mean, tell me any other team that would turn that down. Nobody's turning that down. So, and there's a good opportunity with 3 home games with teams in the East. So let's just
The Nets are turning that down. They are taking. They do not want to win
that's
games.
fair. That's fair. That's fair. No, I will disagree with that. But in terms of just as a fan, this is a great opportunity for this team to start off 5-0 and get this young Spurs team. And Wemby said it after the Mavericks game that they're tired of losing. They're tired, they want to make a statement. These are the type of games that you prove yourself. Hey, we can go with the big dogs when they want to get big on us. So let's just see what can happen with these games. But this week could be a great opportunity for this team to show and prove their worth to the home fans as well.
I want to make a prediction for this game, especially with double bigs. Stephon Castle at some point in this game is going to take on Bam Adebayo and Kel'el Ware. In that scrimmage, remember, Corliss Williamson told him to go at Wemby on the defensive side. And there's been a few times where Steph has taken the center. Not just he was, on Cooper Flag, in that first game, but also he guarded AD a few possessions. They are telling him, like, go at those big guys. And I think part of that is because Steph already wants to be physical with them, and he's going to get away with a few calls. So I kind of see a few things where the Spurs have been adopting like that OKC Alex Caruso mentality on the defensive end, and then also trying to push that pace like the Pacers, even though right now we are in the bottom half of the league in pace, but that's because of last night.
Steph's physicality.
All that
has
being said,
been- I just want to say one thing about
Mhm.
this, because it's something I noticed last night on a screen he set on Zion, right? You got your point guard setting a screen on Zion Williamson, and he's sort of like holding, grabbing, standing his ground to the point where afterward, after Wemby took a dribble by and crammed it from way too far away, Zion's kind of looking around like, that guy's allowed to grab me like that. But it's also like, you're 6'7", 300 pounds of muscle. Like, you should just be able to bulldoze that guy. So Steph's physicality, and especially allows him to size up. And that's going to be especially
He didn't want
important
to jump
on the
into Steph
defensive
like he
end
did to
of the floor.
Wemby all night and get the draw a foul. Ridiculous.
We'll see. The officiating, what did Rick Carlisle say the other day? He was like, I don't want to talk about it because I'll get fined a lot of money. We should talk about our predictions for the week. I think we all last week predicted undefeated 2-0.
You did.
I
Zach, I feel like just went into his prediction. I think Zach, you saying undefeated this week? Say it with your chest.
Yeah, I'm
out.
saying they go undefeated this week. I say 3-0. really get the home fans behind everybody. 5-0 to go into the next week. I want to see that. I think that'd be fantastic for the psyche of the team, for the mental fortitude of this team. I think last night was a big, big win for this team that, like, holy shit, we can win without Wemby in an overtime game against another number one pick who was going at us all night. That's a big psyche boost for this team. And I think if they can pull 3 more wins in this week, it's going to really boost and really amplify what they're trying to do this year.
My brain says they win the Nets game and drop one of the Raptors or Heat, but also my brain says that my brain is stupid sometimes. And like it's like a you gotta make a guy prove that he can hit that shot. I haven't seen the Spurs hit the lose a game shot yet this year. So I think I'm predicting undefeated until they prove that they can lose.
It tried to last
I
night.
think, yeah, but it didn't happen.
They won.
It was like despite their best efforts, they won that game. And so yeah, 3-0 this week, 5-0 for the season, 10-0 since the start of the preseason. Fuck it, why not?
Fellas, I want to be up in there in the clouds with y'all. I want to be riding high on the hog, but I'm 10 toes on this one. I'm gonna say we're going 2-1 this week. I think surprisingly we're gonna drop. I'll just call the Raptors game as the one that we drop. I feel like a couple days off before the Heat game will be helpful in being able to keep up with them. It'll be kind of like a nice wake up call. But yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1 for us. And with that being said, look, I think we're done with this one. We're gonna be at the game tomorrow, all 3 of us. If you see this beforehand and want to come say hi, like, please do. I think all of us are pretty approachable people. So we'll be in the building. Zach, you'll be there on Monday. Tom, believe you're going to be in the building on Thursday for the Heat game. Look, go Spurs go, man. This is a really exciting season. We're just getting started. Like and subscribe. Help us get to that 1,000 subs on YouTube. Zach, what do you got to say before we sign off?
And enjoy Spurs basketball. Embrace the no losses. Enjoy it. Soak it in. We're top of the West right now. Enjoy that.
Huh?
Yeah, man, center of the basketball universe. Is pretty cool. We used to watch Bryn Forbes. Now we get this, and I can say that because he's a bad guy. Like, go us. We got here. This is so much fun, man. I'm so excited. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Even if your enemy gets surprised for being one of our 1,000 subscribers, like, that's good. We're legion. Make your enemies friends. Maybe, I don't know, unless they're really bad. Go Spurs, go.
Friends, be disciplined to be disciplined. Embrace the boring and mundane. And with that, we'll see you out there in the streets, and hope y'all have a great day. Check us out next week. Peace.